Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And last week I reviewed a very cool Poprace event exclusive Supra and mentioned to you guys that I'd have some newer released Poprace event exclusives. So here we are today, where I've got two event exclusive Poprace 164 releases from the Hong Kong ToyCar Salon. It's the Pandem GR Yaris in this crazy looking rugged raw metal, and the Hakosuka GT-R Drift build with a V8 swap in this crazy flashy chrome color. So stick with me, I'll pop them open, give you a few tidbits and a bit of a real car context. So let's break down the details and let's roll. And first up, we've got the Pandem GR Yaris. You've likely seen this car in a few other colors. There's a white one, a super nice red and white livery, a black, red and white Daigo Saito tribute, even a sporty Advan or Shell liveries. And not only that, but we've got a few EVA racing variations as well, which I'll be reviewing in the future. However, this really cool event special gives us something extremely unique in the fact that it's finished off in a raw metal style, stripping away all the crazy paint and liveries, and really helps to just bring the car back to its fundamental design and really allows us to spotlight the kit and the sculpted lines of this car. So it's going to be a really awesome one, and a very cool looking black, white and gray color scheme all over the box. Very typical Poprace style, and it's of course number 329, and as usual it is also officially licensed. So let's open it up. I'm really excited because I haven't actually seen this yet, so let's check it out. And now I've just cut this little section open over here, and of course Pandem widebody kits come from Kei Miura of TRA Kyoto, the same visionary behind Rocket Bunny, and he turns these relatively small cars into wide aggressive stunners. So let's see what this one looks like, and here we go. Wow, this is looking pretty insane. Whoa, oh my word, that is really ridiculous. Wow, that is really crazy. I didn't expect it to look like this. This is a really interesting finish, my word. Wow, that is very epic. Sorry, I don't really know what to say. I actually thought it would be a little bit more metallic than this, but it looks a little bit subdued almost in terms of this color. So I'm a little bit surprised by it. And let me just move this out of the way of the rear so the camera can focus. Wow, it almost has this kind of gray look to it rather than this shiny metallic I was expecting, but it looks really cool in this raw color, and the back wings seems to actually be painted in a sort of silver rather than it being raw. You can see the kind of gloss finish that it has, and wow, this finish is really cool. It reminds me of like a DeLorean or something. That is pretty intense, to be honest. As a first impression, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but this looks really cool actually, and you can see how mad this body kit is on this car, and I really like that they've brought it back to this sort of bare bone style so we can really get into it and analyze it properly. So let's actually dive into it. Of course, the first impressions of the car for me is that it looks absolutely crazy and super mean. We've got this insane looking wide body Pandem kit. Of course, this wide body comes from Kei Miura of TRA Kyoto, the same visionary that brings us Rocket Bunny, and he turns these relatively small cars into these crazy looking wide aggressive tuner stunners. So this is no different. And of course, underneath this GR Yaris is no joke because it's got a turbo 3-cylinder rally bred all-wheel drive setup born from Toyota's Gazoo racing division, and now it's of course slammed into this Pandem wildness, and it gives a crazy impression straight away. I really like the contrast of this car, and I actually expected this car to have quite a lot more of a metallic finish, and this looks almost a little bit subdued. It almost seems to be like maybe a bit of a satin sort of feel. So to me, it looks like we've actually got some kind of a clear coating or something like that over the paint itself. Although it says that it's finished off in raw metal, it definitely gives the feel that it's been coated with something. You can see the kind of highlights and the reflections that we have in the paint as well, and I think there seems to be something on there, and of course definitely on the rear wing there as well. And this finish itself also looks to have a little bit of a brushed effect running all the way along the car as well, and that's a pretty cool finish. Even on the sides you can sort of see this kind of striations in the metal work itself. To be honest, I was kind of thinking it would look a bit different, similar to what Hot Wheels would do. And here's a car for reference, and this is the kind of metal finish that they have, which is on their unpainted bodies. So this one definitely feels like it's a little bit less metallic in finish, but I actually like the look of this because of this contrasted black body kit the car has. It really helps to cut the car into different kind of segments in terms of design. So let's check it out in a little bit of detail, starting off with the roof. So straight away you can see that we've got this kind of interesting design feature, this horizontal line running all the way across the entirety of the top, and we've even got a little antenna in the center there as well. And I really like how nicely we've got the highlights and the shadows kind of hitting the different body surfaces, really highlighted in this metallic finish. And of course you can see these light lines hitting off the top of the car as well. Rocket Bunny Racing. Then we've got the window over here with a nice black surround, a little bit of wipers. And then of course we come to the bonnet, and you can see that we've got some nice line work. It's extremely subdued, but this color really helps to accentuate all the different surfaces of this car, and it looks really incredible. Actually, this is a great finish just to review all those even minor little different areas in surfacing of the car. And of course we've got a nice little Toyota logo and a bit of a black surround around it, and really deep looking headlights, great amount of detail with the separate pieces of acrylic, and they look really in there, and I think it gives it quite a lot of depth and three-dimensionality in the car. And overall it's a pretty great finish. Interesting as well that we've got this really crisp split line just splitting the bonnet and this front mask area of the car. You'd almost think that these two sections would be able to open together. That would be pretty cool. And of course we come to this crazy looking body kit. We've got a lot of three-dimensionality, and the kit itself looks to be very industrial looking. So we've got quite a lot of interesting shaped extrusions and bevels, and of course we've got a three-dimensional grille in the center there, and this kind of hexagonal sort of finish. And then we've got some really cool looking air intakes, a lot of three-dimensionality and a lot of interesting areas. So you can see how many little winglets we've got. We've even got a little cutout for some lights in there, some vents which are painted in black, and this entire intake area has quite a lot of three-dimensionality and quite a bit of complex geometry going on over here. You can see the amount of three-dimensionality as I rotate the car around. And here as well, in this massive canard, you can see it kind of free floating in front of this entire area, and it becomes this sort of side winglet. It looks absolutely crazy and super extreme, and it's really not something you would imagine on a little Toyota Yaris. But of course this is the Pandem, and it looks super mean. I love the finish and the look of this thing. And of course Pandem over there, absolutely crazy. Then here we've got really crisp looking work on these fenders. Once again, this wide body Pandem kit, and the air outlet over there. However, it's not three-dimensional, and it's also not colored in black, unfortunately. Of course, in real life that would have a hole actually cut through. And then we come to these insane looking front wheels. They look to be maybe like LD97s or set of Advans or something like that. And of course we've got Advan on the tires themselves, and the wheels rotate really nicely, and I'm really loving the finish on this. We've got a super deep gloss black 6-spoke, and then we've got this really high chrome lip, and I really love the finish on that, especially on this car. It really helps to set the wheels off, and it's a super awesome look that this car has. And of course we've got some brake rotors in the rear as well, and pretty good rotation on the wheels too. We've got this really cool black finish of the fenders going all the way around this wide body extension, and even in this front little section over here, and you can see the bolt holes, and then those holes actually continue up on the side skirts, finished off in this black, once again hardcore and Pandem, and a lot of three-dimensionality. And you can see how much width this rear kit gives the car, and how much three-dimensionality this kit actually gives to the car. So here we've got this insane looking little intake as well, just to cool the rear wheels and brakes, I suppose. And we've got a lot of three-dimensionality in this rear panel as well. It almost has a kind of blistered style look on this rear end. And we've got a very cool looking air outlet there, just finished off in black, and a lot of depth of detail in this entire car. And I really love this body kit. It's super geometric, especially for a car like the Yaris. And then heading back to the side a little bit, we've got a really nice, beautifully finished off door, the handles, and nice split lines. And interestingly enough, we've got this really interesting character line just kind of sweeping down the side of the car and kind of drooping down, and it gives the car a really cool character as it kind of shoots back up towards the rear of the car. Of course here it says Rocket Bunny as well, and we've got a beautiful DLO, like almost looks like one single piece of glass with a really thin B-pillar and some rear view mirrors finished off in black. And you can already see on the interior that we've got quite a significant roll cage in there. Then heading to the back, we've got this funny little Rocket Bunny pig logo over here, and the typical Yaris style rear tail lights, and quite a lot of three-dimensionality and really good depth of detail. The Toyota logo, the GR Yaris, even a Poprace logo in the middle. But interestingly enough, it doesn't really have any three-dimensionality here for this rear number plate. It's kind of just like a sticker on there, all just painted on there. It's kind of interesting to say the least. And then of course we've got this pretty cool simplistic looking diffuser, this double exhaust just finished off in black, not too crazy in terms of looks, and a little bit of reflectors there as well. But we do have a bit of three-dimensionality on these air outlets in the rear. And then of course we've got this colossal wing supported by these struts over here, and it looks absolutely insane. And of course, as you can see, this looks to have this kind of silver patina effect paint over here with a little bit of metallic flake in there as well. So that's not a raw area, or at least, I don't know, it seems not to be, or at least maybe it's been manufactured in a different way that it doesn't kind of have these striations. But to me, it looks to have a little bit of a different effect. And then of course this side of the car is pretty much the same as the other, apart from the fact that we've got the fuel filler cap over there. So heading into the interior now, you can see we've got a lot of three-dimensionality. We've got a massive gear shifter in the center there, some really nice looking bucket seats, and a really well detailed steering wheel and center console as well. You can just see over here. And we've even got a screen in the center which seems to be displaying something, although it's extremely hard to see. And of course, this being a GR Yaris, we should actually have some rear seats, although in this case it seems to be a pretty stripped out interior with this massive roll cage in the rear there. And we might be able to see in the back window the complexity of the geometry of this roll cage. It's pretty epic to say the least. And then you can see the modeling and the molding of the interior. So pretty great work overall in bringing this car to life, and even have some cup holders in the center. So very cool. It's got a super motorsports dash tuning culture vibe, and I'm really loving it. So let's check out what the Hakosuka can show us. Now next up we have the Hakosuka, and you can see it says Pandem in the window as well, interestingly enough. And of course this has been out in a few other colors too. There's a classic white one, dark chrome, an Advan one, and a Coca-Cola Zero Chrome wrap one as well. Of course, this is a chrome silver event edition, so this is supposed to bring us a sort of near mirror finish to the car. So let's see what it's all about. Of course, the box is pretty much similar to the GR Yaris, and once again, this one is an officially licensed Pandem product. So it's completely sealed, so I will open it up and let's check it out. Of course, the C10 Skyline, known as Hakosuka or Box Skyline, is the OG GT-R from the late 60s and early 70s. So here it's channeled into this drift culture, mixing vintage lines with V8 muscle. So I'm extremely excited to see what it actually looks like. So here we go. Wow, that is absolutely ridiculous. Oh my word. Wow, okay. Well, this is quite interesting. Jeez, this thing is like just super reflective. Okay, so this is a proper full-on mirror finish effect that this car has. And you can just see how insane that is. And you can even see me filming there. And hey, what's up guys? This is absolutely ridiculous. Wow. And I really love the three-dimensionality already. In some areas you can see, even on that rear parcel shelf, it's got a like sort of industrial kind of finish, and it just looks absolutely mean. Wow, this thing looks really crazy. I really like how flush it is to the ground, and this kind of low slung, seriously slammed look. It's giving this like classic vibes with this crazy looking tuner culture style, and you can already see these crazy looking blue ITBs sticking out of the bonnet, and a little bit of blue here on the exhaust as well. So I really like these little touches. So let's actually check the car out in a little bit more detail. This is super cool. And I just gave the car a quick wipe down off screen. I must say this finish is a really tricky one to sort of handle. You could see every tiny speck of dust and every little bit of imperfection in the finish as well. It's definitely not something you want to be handling with just your fingers. It's definitely advisable to have gloves. And one thing that's a little bit sad is that it doesn't come in its own acrylic box, because I feel like this is not a model you'd really want to keep out in the open and have to clean all the time. So I'd suggest putting it in some kind of a closed off diorama or some kind of an acrylic cover, just to help protect the finish on this car. But I must say it looks absolutely insane, almost mesmerizing just to like look at the overall shape and the proportions of this car. And this finish is absolutely crazy. I really love this kind of vintage sort of boxed old school GT-R vibes. You can just see how mean this car looks, and this body kit extremely sets the car alive, and it just helps to accentuate every body line. It's super sinister and really mean looking. I just love it. It's really cool. I wasn't sure what to expect with this. I actually wanted to get this in a different color, but then when these came up, I just kind of thought I should give this one a review, and I'm really happy that it actually looks so awesome. So let's check it out in detail. And of course, starting off with a roof, you can see it's just pretty much a mirror, and you can even see my phone in the reflection with a whole bunch of stickers on it. Sorry, that's my son's work. And of course the Pandem logo in the top banner, and you can already see we've got some three-dimensionality on the seats inside. Nice little windscreen wipers, and we've got even the air inlets there as well. And now of course we come to this crazy looking bonnet, and because we've got a little bit of three-dimensionality, it gives it a really nice look, and you can just see how beautifully these light lines actually shine off the bonnet. You can see the differentiation in all the surfaces. It's really exquisite. And of course, we cannot skip this crazy looking throttle bodies hanging out of the bonnet over here. So we got 8 of them, of course. It's a V8 and just finished off in this kind of, ooh, like mesmerizing blue, I want to say, with a black sort of finish on the middle. And in the front mask, we've got this really cool looking grille with a lot of three-dimensionality, a little R logo there as well. And of course, these really nice headlights, all separate elements. And we've even got these little blanked off kind of areas there, and so much three-dimensionality. And I really love this look of this old school vibe, this kind of punched out front area in this front bumper, and of course some recesses where you would be able to put some lights in, but of course we could use them for intakes. They're just finished off in kind of black, and it's actually almost difficult to see where the black details are and where the chrome is, because this chrome actually reflects the black, so it's kind of interesting to differentiate it. But a lot of three-dimensionality even in this area, and a lot of depth of detail. And then coming to this new motorsport vibe, we've got these massive front splitter. It's almost got this sort of tip in the middle and just shooting forward. It's really insane looking. Super flat though, but that's very cool because it matches this old school vibe. Finished off in carbon fiber, Pandem logo in the center. Super crazy looking. What a car. And now coming to the front 3/4, we've got a little indicator over there, and then this black actually continues around the wheel arches. And as you can see, we've got some insane looking super wide fender wheel arches over here, and we've even got the little rivet holes going all the way around it. And I must say, the width that this gives the car is just absolutely astronomical. You can really see how crazy, and the rear ones are even more insane. It's absolutely just wild. But even on these front ones, it's just crazy. It's really out there in terms of the width that it actually gives the car. And then we've got some really cool old school mirrors here on the front fenders as well. And then coming to this area here, we've got this classic GT logo, which is very cool and great attention to detail. And now we come to the front wheels, and you can see how awesome they look. It says Advan Yokohama on the tires, and even has a little bit of like a red kind of stripe running all around it as well. And it looks pretty cool when they rotate too. And then you can see we've got a huge amount of dish on the wheels, and it's also got like a little bit of a stepped polished lip as well, and that looks really awesome. Spinning around looks super mean. And of course the design of them is kind of a BBS sort of style split rim too, and you can see that we've got the discs behind it as well. And now coming to the side of the car, you can see proportionally we've got the super low and low slung body. It looks seriously epic over here. And in this color, it just really highlights all the light lines of the car. You can see how much three-dimensionality these beautiful classic surfaces have. And then we've got this beautiful DLO as well. It looks very open, and you can see into the car really beautifully with these really tiny like B-pillar there as well. And we've got some three-dimensionality in the door, beautiful split lines, and of course even these tiny rivets running all along the bottom. And we cannot forget this insane looking exhaust, finished off in this crazy chrome blue, and that's kind of similar to the finish on the ITBs there as well. And that is an insane little detail that I really love, just to accentuate and give the car a little bit more character. And of course a Pandem logo over there, and then a typical GT-R rear over here. And then we come to this ridiculous rear arch here. So of course we've got the bolt holes once again, and we've got some seriously ridiculous amount of width added to the car. So if you look underneath, it's almost a full like width of a wheel's width extra added onto the car itself, which is just absolutely hilarious, and it's just super ludicrous. And they spin really well actually on the rears. and man, they're even deeper than the front wheels were. So you can see how much dish we've got on the rear. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's got so much personality. I really love the look of this thing. Such a cool car. And then really nice C-pillar with a fuel filler cap over there. Some beautiful finishing on the rear surfaces too, and a little bit of an indicator there as well, with quite a lot of detail there, and I really like that as well. Then on the rear, we've got this really cool back bumper, just finished off in this black. Really nice bit of contrast added to the car with the little indicators. And then we've got the rear lights, two separate elements, and a lot of three-dimensionality. And although they're old school, these actually look kind of modern, to be honest, in terms of the shape of the rear lights. I really like the way that these tail lights look. And of course, there another little GT-R logo and another tiny little logo in the middle there. It's so small you can't even really see what it says properly. And we've got this typical classic GT-R wing as well. And if you actually look on the rear deck here as well, you'll see something pretty interesting. And we've got some air intakes, it seems like, in the rear, with quite a lot of three-dimensionality there as well. And that's a pretty insane looking thing. And then of course, the interior, we've got this rear parcel shelf, as I mentioned before. It's got a lot of three-dimensionality and looks pretty modern. It almost looks like a line of Kit Kats next to each other. It's pretty cool actually. And then the roll bar in there, finished off in the silver. And we can have a look through the side window too and see what we can see. The seats are finished off in a beautiful classic style. We've got this kind of ribs running all the way along it, really beautiful. And then we've got this classic steering wheel in there as well, with a typical like 3-spoke style. We've got the handbrake in the center as well, and quite a lot of three-dimensionality. I can't see the dash really well, to be honest, so let's see from this angle. And you can see we do have quite a bit of three-dimensionality on the dashboard as well. And I really like the look of this thing. So as you can see, this is an extremely crazy build so far, but it hasn't really shown us all its secrets just yet, because if you take a look under this grille over here, we can actually open the boot and check that out. We've got an insanely huge intercooler just hiding in there, and a little bottle too. And of course, this is a direct nod to how extreme built drift cars relocate their entire cooling system, sometimes all the way to the rear. It just helps to balance the weight and keeps the airflow clean at the front as well. So it's a really practical drift solution, and it's shown here even in this tiny 1:64 scale. And I really love the fact that they've actually hid this over here. So that is super awesome, and it's super cool. And now we've even got the front here. So this part actually opens too, but actually it requires a little bit of finesse. And I'm gonna have to crack it open off camera because it's pretty tricky. So bear with me a moment. And now I've cracked it open a little bit, and it's kind of tricky because you don't really want to scratch this chrome. But here we go. Wow, that is absolutely awesome. Wow, that's pretty cool. You can see how massive those intakes look, and it's really crazy. We've got a little bit of depth of detail here with a little bit of wiring there. Although it looks kind of clean, to be honest, it almost looks like some kind of a show car built under the bonnet. Of course, the original Hakosuka had just 160 horsepower from a 2-liter straight 6. So this drift reimagining easily triples or quadruples that output. In Daigo Saito's Hakosuka Drift Monster, they've used high-powered V8s pushing between 600 and 800 horsepower, so super massive horsepower. It needs a lot of cooling as well, which explains this rear setup. And this is just absolutely crazy, and I really love how you can open this whole thing up. And I like the fact that this opens forward as well. So what an insane looking build. I just really love this car. This is super cool. And so here you have it, two show-stopping cars. straight up, the Yaris is absolutely insane. I really love the look of it with this crazy body kit. It's super geometric and very modern, and it's such a funny thing to see such a wild looking body kit on this tiny little car. And I think they've done a really excellent job, and seeing it in this raw metal color actually gives the car quite a lot of character just to break down this wild body kit that the car has. I'm really loving that thing, and especially with those crazy looking 6 spokes with a deep dish and polished lip. I think they've absolutely nailed the car. And then of course on the other side of the scale we've got this crazy looking Hakosuka. It blends this really beautiful looking classic shape with this insanely raw drift energy, super crazy with a V8, and I even really like the little blue touches, and of course all the tiny little details hiding in the front and the rear. The stance is absolutely mad. The wide body is just absolutely ridiculously insane. It's just a really crazy one. I don't know which one I prefer between the two, but I love both of them. So let me know which one you guys prefer though. Are you going to be picking both of these up, or maybe just one of them? And what do you think? Of course you can pick them up for roughly around 40 to 60, 70-ish pounds for the pair, or you can find them individually as well all over the place online. So let me know which one you like, strip back rally hatch or chrome drift classic. And of course don't forget to like and subscribe for more 164 and 118 deep dives. Thanks everybody for watching, take it easy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.